Had to change my.
I'm sorry, Michal, you were saying?
I had to change my batteries in the headset.
No worries. So we continue to make great progress. We have a bunch of people from other teams here today, which is great, that are learning about what we're up to. I'll just give a quick, and Alexander, I just got a message. You said he'll be here in a minute. Just got a quick update for Matt and Sean and Alper is that, and Sean knows some of this is, it's a new team we just founded recently. We are in the process of integrating the unreview technology, which is going well so far for a proof of concept. So we've got in staff for milestone 1, and we're going to do it for GitLab itself first, to dog food it ourselves before we fully integrate it in the future. And so far, so good. Miha, do you want to give a quick update on what you've been working on?
I've been trying to set up the POC environment, but I'm kind of stuck with permissions since I tried to create a new GCP project for us, but I don't have the required permissions. I reached out to the infra team to see if I should create new Kubernetes cluster in the GitLab internal project that we currently have, or should I actually create a new one?
Thanks for the update, Miha. If you don't get unblocked quickly enough, in a day or so, perhaps since I'm going to be out, perhaps reach out to others who can help with doing that. I don't know, Alper, if you have experience with that, or if not, maybe Phil does, because Phil's also going to keep an eye on things for this team next week when I'm out. But if it takes a bit longer than you expect it to, definitely reach out and ask for help to see if we can get you unblocked as quickly as possible.
I'm trying to keep the standard maintainer acceptable delay of 2 days. So if I don't get unblocked today, then I'm going to ping certain people to see if I can get this rolling.
2 days sounds good. Sean, Matt, Alper, any advice for me, how as he does this and building this environment that you've experienced in the past?
Do you need my help to install the environment?
I think Mia was saying just before you joined, Alexander, that it's permissions.
Yeah, I think it looks like an infrastructure request. I don't know the structure, but for product intelligence, we had a GCP project with specific permissions. But anytime you work with infrastructure, I think you have to expect several days of delays because they are usually overloaded with other issues. So I think that's expectable. But in case anything I can help with, I have a GCP project for product intelligence, which is not used, but I think we shouldn't use it for that purpose anyway. And I don't think there will be permissions for Kubernetes there already. So that will be another question mark.
One thought on this is it's good that we're dog fooding first, and that the ultimate custom will be GitLab employees. So if there are problems, that's actually not a big issue for our customers. But I guess this may be something that's quite new to infrastructure and SRE, and perhaps we would like to, have some, I wouldn't say training, but some type of, education on what they might need to do if there's a problem, and this team can't be reached for whatever reason. Like perhaps just interact with either infrastructure or SRE and kind of let them know that we're going to have this other cluster. It's going to be separate. How it would be managed, things like that.
Good points. Taylor, you want to do your quick update on what you've been working on? Are you blocked? What are you going to work on next, etc.?
Sure. So getting those private milestones we talked about yesterday set up with all of the checkboxes and get that organization and issue tree set up. I'm trying to wrap my head around all of the NYI headcounts and how we're going to adjust the organization of the model ops stage to take on anti-abuse, which I guess I'm the default product manager for. And then direction page updates to reconcile a lot of the things I previously mentioned.
Alexander, you want to give your quick update?
Yeah, sorry, I'm a bit lost today. I was replacing Hive and ADF with Dataflow, and I lost myself a bit.
No worries.
Yeah, so right now, as I said, I'm working on replacing Azure Data Factory and Hive with Dataflow. So I finished almost everything, but I write the code in Jupyter notebooks. So I have to make the code production ready. For the right now, so we are able to read data from the local files, but generally we need to read them from Kafka. So that will be the next step. So I decided to split into 2 iterations. First, we read data from local files and we process it. Then the next step, so we read data from Kafka and we process it.
Excellent.
So
Go ahead.
yes, yeah. Sorry, I was trying to say that once we install the Kubernetes environment, for instance, if you need my help to install Kafka, I can do that.
Which is great. What permissions are you stuck? Can you repeat what permission, what you were blocked on, Michał, based on?
Well, basically the idea is that I can either create a new project within the GCP organization that we have and put things in that project, or I could try adding a new Kubernetes cluster to an existing project, which could be GitLab internal, or there are several projects available, but I am not sure that would be the correct approach. I basically rather make sure with the infra team that this is what we are doing actually makes any sense, or I'm just introducing problems.
Thanks for the detail on it. Sean, you mentioned earlier about giving the infrastructure team a heads up. We did actually give them a heads up on the proof of concept. And they gave us advice on how to plan for post proof of concept. So proof of concept is, it's worth talking through this to get feedback on it. We are pulling data from GitLab itself, the GitLab project itself, using existing APIs, pulling it into the machine learning components, processing the data, and then likely are going to be passing the results back to the machine learning as a comment, or maybe even display it in a separate UI. We haven't decided yet. So it's all separate and it's using existing functionality and it's on one project. Past the proof of concept, it's actually going to be a feature that we're going to make available inside the product itself for .com customers. And that's where we're not going to be pulling the API. We think that will be too slow and put too high of a load on the system. We're going to pull directly from the database, and it'll be directly integrated with the product. So there'll be portions of the UI on the product itself. That's what will get help and advice from Matt and the front end team for Verify and others to make that part happen. And we're going to do an infrastructure readiness review, I think is what they call it, with them for that milestone. So it's great feedback, and that's our plan.
Okay, that makes sense, definitely. Because it sounds like we're introducing a whole lot of things that are new.
Oh, we are. It's
Kafka,
Hive,
yep. Hive, yep.
Google Dataflow. Of course, the whole unreviewed code base, which is a large percentage of it is Python, which there isn't much, if any, Python in GitLab, but that's the de facto standard for learning, and a number of other things as well that are brand new. We did eliminate a number of new things. Like we're not going to use MongoDB. That's part of the previous architecture. We're going to use other things for that as an example. And we got rid of a couple other things as well. So, any volunteers to run this meeting next week since I'm out of office?
I can do it.
Oh, thanks, Sean. Alexander, you have the next item?
Yeah, so I have been contacted by, let me check. Oh, sorry. So by the security automation team, and as I understood right now, they work on the anti-spam service. So I can send the link right now. So if we check the architecture, it looks like they're also trying to integrate something like Kafka. So maybe, so they send me a link to schedule a coffee chat. I can talk with them. Maybe we can find something similar. Maybe the way how they're trying to, they also have some machine learning models. and maybe in the way, maybe the way how they are trying to learn, how they are trying to train these models and how they are trying to aggregate data, maybe it looks similar to what we are doing right now.
I'm just gonna do a little bit of a padding GitLab on it. That's awesome for transparency. I don't know how they found out about it. Maybe it's the handbook updates that you've been doing on the architecture, but that's great. I would recommend, in addition to a coffee chat, maybe recording it and putting it on unfiltered, or coordinating coordinating discussion via an issue. I think it'd be great. As much as appropriate. Sometimes you can't do that with abuse stuff because you don't want to give the attackers too much information about how we're finding them and blocking them. But if we can, that would be great.
I put the link into the doc file on the issue that they send me. So if we check their architecture, I mean the picture, we can see that there is a message broker. I don't know what they mean by this message broker, but maybe Kafka can be used also. And if we look at this architecture, it looks similar to what we are trying to achieve in the milestone 2.
Great.
So maybe we can coordinate our work somehow, not to produce two similar things at the same time.
Yeah, that is one of the new components is Kafka, and we have talked about that. Things like Kafka for a pub sub architecture would be useful to different parts of GitLab, not just what we're doing.
Yeah, that's what I'm
about
trying.
This one,
Yeah.
but there are other ones in the past where it's been discussed. So that's great, great collaboration. Anything else we want to discuss as a group?
Just a simple question. Did I forget to add anyone to the, should I add anyone else to the daily stand-up chat, or is it just me and Alexander posting daily updates?
Yeah, since I'm the acting EM, I think you added me there, but I should be configured to do that. And I don't know, Taylor, if you want to or not. My guess would be no. But
All right.
yes,
Assumed as much.
But anybody, oh, that does remind me, but please do update the handbook page that mentions what Slack channels we use in the group to just include that one as well.
Sorry, going back to the first point, should we check the handbook page right now? It's written here, updating the private milestones, check marks. So in this sense, do we need to check the handbook page?
Yeah, maybe probably good for Taylor to take a, since you're updating the what could be confidential versus not in the issues and ethics. Take a look at the handbook pages if you would, Taylor. Make sure they're consistent too.
Yeah, just real quick before you end, I just wanted to introduce myself. So I'm the backend engineering manager for the code review team. So at some point, I assume we'll be working closely together. So just wanted to at least chime in and say hi and say nice to meet you, and looking forward to working with you.
Thanks, Matt. Great, thanks everybody. Have a great day.
Thanks.